I was tired of being left out on the sidelines. I wanted to belong. I wanted full participation. My identity is not disabled. My identity is not broken. It is complete and whole and free and capable and resourceful. There is no excuse. And it's okay to do it messy. And it's okay to get frustrated. And it's okay to step into the uncertainty as long as you just keep doing it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vibrant Soul Society. I'm your host, Baba Sam, the Miracle Man. Today we have a very vibrant soul with us, Pauline. So, Pauline, welcome to the conversations.
Thank you for having me. Super happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. Who is Pauline?
Let's just go deep right away. Okay.
Absolutely.
My name is Pauline Victoria. I'm an inspirational thought leader and courage coach. And I help entrepreneurs show up so they can profit in their purpose. I use a lot of inspiration from my own life when I speak or coach with other entrepreneurs based on my life as a woman born without arms and legs. I was born in 1975. If you're listening and you're in the Gen Z, or I don't know, we're calling them Gen A, you're probably like, wow, that was like ancient. But it wasn't. My parents did not expect me to come out with any sort of problems. Ultrasounds show that I was going to be completely normal. The doctors, they saw that I was breech, so they knew they would get a cesarean to my mom. And when I came out, I was a shock for a lot of people. Back in the 70s, when I was born, the uh, typical and acceptable way to deal with a child born with disabilities with such severity in their minds is that they would give them up into an institution. My parents decided that even without the resources, without the knowledge, without trainings, without the equipment or the tools, that they were going to take me home and raise me anyway. I'm very grateful for them. They raised me with this combination of tough love and nurturing. And it really was a beautiful combination because I felt love enough that they could give me space in order for me to be able to see what I was made of, see what I was capable of. And so pretty much from the time I was 18 months old and on, whether it be riding, swimming, driving, or having a baby, everything I have achieved, I had to believe that I could accomplish those things before I could see it come into my reality. I had to be okay with being uncomfortable. I had to be okay with getting frustrated and having it be messy. I like to help other entrepreneurs find the courage to be uncomfortable, be messy, get frustrated and continue on the journey that they're on because what they're committed to is so much bigger than themselves. And so for me, it's ordinary life, but I know that there's a lot of things that I can help bring out for people, help reflect them. And that's all I see myself as, a reflection of everybody else. Even though my limitations appear to be on the outside, the biggest limitations and battles I ever have had to face have been internal. If you can relate to this, especially if you're an entrepreneur, or experience any sort of adversity, that you are good enough. You know, that those beliefs of being good enough, and those beliefs about you are made by an amazing creator, having those internal conversations to defeat self-doubt, imposter syndrome. The entrepreneurial journey is, I interviewed a woman, Gina B, one time, and she said the entrepreneurial journey is like personal development on steroids. It really does confront you, who you are. I've used my life to show that anything is possible and you can be resilient, adapt, and really achieve your desires.
Yes, it's great that your parents made that decision to raise you and to give you that upbringing. So, how was that tough love? You did have all these challenges, and I really commend your parents for, because I know at one time I'm around your age, it used to be places like Penhurst and these other horrible places that no one should have to experience. So, how was that tough love, though?
Yeah. I think the tough love was key. As a parent myself, I know it's hard. I don't know who it's tougher on, the kid or the parent, but the tough love was really necessary for me to be able to explore myself. Even though my parents were the first to initiate it, as I grew up, I initiated it on myself. When I say tough love, I I would put myself in positions that are uncomfortable. When I was 12 years old, there's a cabana club in my neighborhood, and all the kids would go there during the summer. And it was fine when we were young, right? They'd be in the baby pool, and then we graduated to the big pool, but in the shallow end and then on the stairs. And I could still play with my friends. But then we hit adolescence, and they're all going out into the deep end now. And I'm stuck on the stairs of the pool back in the shallow end. I was tired of being left out on the sidelines. I wanted to belong. I wanted full participation. In order to do that, I would have to learn to swim. I figured out a way for me to be able to swim, and it was uncomfortable. I probably swallowed gallons of water, but I was so focused on wanting to be free and fully participate in life. I was okay with being uncomfortable. And that's how I approached college when I moved out and became more independent. It wasn't because my home life was bad. My home life was amazing. I had all my needs taken care of. I didn't have to teach anybody anything about how to care for me or get me my food. But I opted for living out on my own in the dorms for college because I wanted to see if I could. I couldn't rely on my parents forever. The tough love, I'm grateful that my parents used on me, but then at some point, we also have to be able to apply that to ourselves to see what we really are made of. I often get people going, "Oh," they start crying or they feel really bad for me because they're like, "I don't know if I could do it." And I think that people underestimate themselves all the
Mm.
time. And I
Yeah.
think they often talk themselves onto the sidelines where I'm trying to find my way off the sidelines of life.
Right, that is perfect that you're fully free. Despite the supposed limitations of the body, you are fully free. People do underestimate themselves. They have whatever condition, whatever mental condition, and they're in their
Mhm.
own little mental prison. So it's really great for you to step into that. So you yourself became an entrepreneur. Is that how that started, where you helped other entrepreneurs, but you first started with yourself becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I actually created my company, One Leg Up Productions, for people with physical disabilities. I felt there was not a lot of representation of people with disabilities, not a lot of fun, entertaining, relevant information to people with disabilities. And I just had this idea of like, what if I create a network for people with disabilities? And I started a video podcast called Chair Chats. They're still on YouTube if anyone wants, it has an interest in watching those, but it is specific to people with disabilities. And in response to the COVID quarantine or isolation, I created Script Chat where every Saturday we would meet on Zoom, like come as you are. And we have conversations that felt relevant to us. And there was no explaining and having to like, "Oh, yeah, this is my disability." And it just was like, "No, we wanna talk about dating. We wanna talk about money. We wanna talk about working. We wanna talk about transportation," all the stuff. And it really was a beautiful time. However, as an entrepreneur, as a business, we are in business also to make an income. It was fun, but there was no income in it. So I was pivoting. At the same time, I was doing these things for the disability community. I was also taking courses and learning myself about the entrepreneurial world. And came to find myself loving entrepreneurs because they're the visionaries. They're the ones who hold hope and say, the world could be different and I could be part of that change. And I'm willing to be uncomfortable for it. Hopefully they get to that point because this journey is not for the lighthearted. But that's where I started pivoting and really taking an interest in wanting to help other speakers and coaches step into their greatness and find the impact and income that were designed for.
Right, you're the perfect example of that because nothing is slowing you down. I can see that from the life you're living. So, what possible excuse could they have where they couldn't do that?
Yeah, it's probably hard to have me as their coach because every excuse they might be more shamed about like giving their excuses to me than they might another person. Everything has its silver lining.
Right. And you found that silver lining because you're living your life. There is nothing soul spirit cannot do. It's only perceived limitations.
Absolutely. I love that you're speaking to people's souls because at the end of the day, that's where our humanity is. And that's where all the important stuff happens.
It's all within us. We just have to get
Mhm.
it out, and you're helping people get it out into the world. Like you said, they are visionaries, but they don't have the concepts like, okay, this is my vision. How do I make this a reality? So that's where you step in and hold them accountable because excuses are not going to fly with you.
I could dare them to try.
It's great. You're laughing, you're enjoying your life. You don't see yourself as having a disability. I can see that within you. You're like, I'm fully free.
Yeah. And whole.
Right.
I'll share this story. I was in a building one time and I met this gentleman. I introduced myself and I said, "Hi, I'm Pauline Victoria. Nice to meet you." And he looks at me. He says, "I'm like so and so." I can't remember his name at the time. And he said, "You don't know you're disabled." I mean, I've heard a lot of crazy reactions to my disability, but that was not one of them. I said, "Wow, I've never heard that one before. What do you mean?" He's like, "You don't know you're disabled." And in that moment, it clicked with me. My identity is not disabled. My identity is not broken. It is complete and whole and free and capable and resourceful. And those are my identifying factors. And this is something I speak with a lot of my clients is that identity piece, right? I don't know your full story, Baba, but I would love to one day because a lot of people look at MS and they're like, oh, that's a lifelong disease and it gets worse over time. And you prove that wrong. It has a lot to do with our identity. Like, how do we see ourselves? And the moment we understand how we see ourselves, and if you really look at that, that's how other people see you. And that's how powerful our mind is. It has the ability to project onto people what they see you as. And I think from that moment, I found the cure to imposter syndrome that a lot of entrepreneurs go through because my circumstances didn't change. I still didn't have arms and legs, but he could see me. He could see who I was even though the circumstance didn't change. A lot of entrepreneurs will go into their business and go, oh, well, who am I to like, why would they listen to me? Who am I to do this? Why? I don't have enough experience or I haven't made the $1 million yet or the top 10 speakers of the world yet. I haven't done that yet. So maybe I'm not good enough yet. And I say, no, your circumstances don't determine your identity. Your identity determines your circumstances.
Hmm. That's exactly it. Yeah, they made some good points there because when you're diagnosed with MS or any kind of chronic condition, they'll immediately give you these worst case scenarios. So you're never going to be able to do this again. You're not going to do this again. It starts to build up the disabled identity and it really creates a limitation. And you can move beyond all those labels. You chose to have this experience to help
Mm.
others that they can overcome all things, that it's all perception. Like you see yourself as whole and complete. But like you said, the exterior world will say, oh, look at her disabilities, look at her problems. And they don't see it like she sees herself as whole and complete. And it's like, okay, I have this disability, but it doesn't define me. I'm still enjoying my life on my terms. And
Mhm.
that's a real important point that you're enjoying life on your terms. And that's where you can really help those entrepreneurs like, let's make this vision a reality.
Exactly. Thank you for affirming that. Yeah, I really do believe that it really does start with your vision. And that's part of the framework I take my clients through. It's the VISTA framework. Vision is the first one, identity is the second
Mm,
pillar. And then comes strategy and all this stuff. But I guarantee you, if you are an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, speaker, or coach, it's scary to go out there, but it is possible because what you have to offer is valuable. And I think that's what the other piece is, that I don't see myself as a burden to the world. I see myself as a blessing. When you know who you are and stand in your identity, there's a humility you experience. It's a humility that comes with quiet confidence. When you can get there, it's not about not being good enough or imposter syndrome or self doubt. It's just you being you in the world and making that impact that you choose to make.
That is perfect, right? It's really about that identity. Once you know who you are and established who you are, there's sort of like a humble confidence that comes. You don't need to brag. You don't need to scream. It's like, I know who I am. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even need the accolades or the recognition or the applause anymore, because I don't think you have to earn it. I don't think you have to work hard or to achieve it. You have to get the certifications. Like, I have the certification of greatness and courage in me. Like, there is no certification. It's just who you are. And, but you have to choose to be that too. And I understand that anyone who's listening out there, you might not have my exact circumstance, but there's a lot of circumstances that we all have gone through that make us feel broken on the inside. And we have to reclaim that wholeness again.
Right. We really just have to step into our vibrant soul that we all have this radiance, that abundance is our natural state. It's simply that mind saying, no, you can't have this. You're not good enough.
Exactly. Exactly. And you didn't have to earn that vibrancy. You
Mm.
didn't have to work for it. You don't have to pay for it. It just is, because it's just laying dormant in some people.
Right. They don't realize who they are. They're so wrapped up in their stories and their challenges, they forget. So
Yeah.
there's individuals like yourself to remind them that you were born with abundant, you were born with greatness. You don't need permission from the outside world.
Exactly. I love that. I think a lot of people are looking for permission, and you don't need it. Like, they're not the greatness, the vibrancy, light police the government on us. Like, it's all about you. And that's a really empowering way of approaching life.
Right. Just to be you, that simple confidence. I'm just me. I came to Earth for a reason. I'm living my reason. I'm enjoying life. So
Yeah.
now off of this entrepreneurship a little bit. So how do you enjoy life? So what kind of fun things that you like to do? What brings you joy?
Mm, I do love swimming. The water is one place that I am completely free and barrier free. I feel like I can stretch out and like I can move all of my body. There's something very healing about the water. I actually live in Hawaii, so I'm surrounded by water, although I don't go in the ocean because it would literally carry me away. But I do love swimming in the pools. I love being in conversations with amazing humans such as yourself. I could do this all day. And I love being with family and friends and in nature. I love being in nature, and I love going out to eat, where again, though, it's not because of the food, it's more about we get to spend quality time together. Uh, and then other people can worry about the cooking and the cleaning up. But yeah, so those are the simple things that bring me joy. And I feel like I work a lot of that into my life. So I'm very grateful that I get the privilege to be able to do that.
Mhm. That sounds beautiful. Yeah, you're living your life. There's no restrictions except for the ocean and a little tendency for the
Yeah.
ocean to carry you away. But besides that, you're
Yeah.
enjoying and living life.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, right? That's another point of learning right there, is that I may not be able to swim in the ocean, but that doesn't mean I can't swim. You just find a different way of exploring different ways of being able to do what you want to do and just adapting. I think I've learned how to adapt in a world that's not made for me very, very well. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people could use, how to pivot, how to adapt, because oftentimes we feel so overwhelmed by the circumstances that we can't see a way out from them. But if you can adapt, it's just not, it might not be the way you thought it would go. So thinking outside the box and adapting to different situations is really important.
Yeah, that's another key word is adapt, because most people get locked with the blinders that it can only be this one way, and that becomes another obstacle.
Yeah.
So once again, you're helping entrepreneurs adapt because they're stuck in their beliefs again. Like, I'm trying this and my vision's not coming true.
Right.
Adapt.
Or their vision is limited,
Mm,
right? If the starting point is always vision and identity, sometimes our vision is limited because we can only pull on the experiences we've had. So we don't know all the different ways of doing things. I'm a big believer that we create businesses that align with our values and our desires. Like, I don't want to have to work 24/7 or have to work 40 hours a week. So you find a way to create your business in a way that matches the lifestyle that you want and still meets your values.
right. I was looking at your Facebook page. You're helping them create courses. It looks like one of the things that you do help entrepreneurs create those courses so they can probably have that more freestyle lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah. I was working with a gentleman named Maynard, and we had a company called Born with Greatness. And we came up with a brilliant, brilliant way of um, creating courses for entrepreneurs in a very easy and quick way for them. So it took all the angst of having to show up on video, like what do I write, how do I create exercises, and make the course very holistic. And so that was really fun. But creating the course wasn't the fun part. The best part of doing that is when we get to present them with their course and their sales page and their videos, and they look at it and you could see the light go on, and they realize that's them, that they know more than they thought, that what they have to say really is important. And it did come out really beautifully. So to watch someone recognize their magnificence and greatness is one of the best rewards of doing that.
Right. Once again, it's those perceived limitations, forgetting that we're the vibrant soul, radiant, abundant, just the way we are.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. We're on the same page, Baba. That's why I'm on here with you.
You're doing you. That's perfect. That's what I'm talking to people being themselves, not falling into this trap, this identity, this permission where we don't trust ourselves, we're not good enough, we're not worthy, we're not deserving. All this stuff is just nonsense.
Yeah. It is nonsense. Yes. And so, and we get to choose to stop it.
Hmm.
And I think that's people forget they have the choice. And that's why a lot of people will describe my story as an overcoming story. And I tell them I didn't overcome anything. It's still here. It's a choice. It's a constant choosing story. And sometimes that's what we have to do in life is just constantly be choosing, because sometimes circumstances are beyond our control, but how we react to it makes all the difference. I think there's a quote like that, but I don't remember who said it.
That's one of my words too. I'm not a big fan of is overcome because there's really nothing to overcome. It's letting go of the attachments of that restriction.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you. Thank you for that. I love
Yes.
that.
And before we were going on this show, we were talking about this new challenge that you have, or new mastermind, but the visibility challenge. What's this about?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. The Visibility Challenge Mastermind. I was having a conversation with God one day, asking about 2 years ago. And I was like, what is stopping people from stepping into their roles, like actually doing what they say they want to do? Right. So a lot of people come in wanting to be motivational speakers, or they want to come in doing coaching, or they want to be a thought leader or an author or all the things. And the last thing they're doing is speaking, coaching, thinking, writing. So they say they want to do these things. And the answer to my question to God and the universe was they're not showing up. And so I created a visibility challenge with a mastermind component to it, where it's a program that they come in, they not only learn, but they implement. Because the most strong way you can show your commitment to something is through action. And so I help speakers and coaches get over the many, many, many humps that are conscious and unconscious in them that have been stopping them from showing up in their business. Through the mastermind, I'm there to hold their hand. I give them, they get a workbook with 112 prompts. So that's another thing I hear entrepreneurs say, like, I don't know what else to talk about. It's like, don't worry. I gave you 112 prompts of things you could talk about. We can show them the structure of a video and all the things. And then I bring in other experts to help them with other aspects of their visibility. But really what it comes down to is just kind of like what the eagles do with their baby eagles. They just push them out of the nest, and it's hopefully they fly, right? I would be like the mama eagle, but I know you can fly, right? Like, it is possible. So there is no excuse. And it's okay to do it messy, and it's okay to get frustrated, and it's okay to step into the uncertainty, as long as you just keep doing it. And before you know it, being visible and vulnerable is comfortable, and it's not so messy anymore and easy. And you gain credibility and authority and build your audience, and and hopefully your income. Really, it's for that end, is to really support speakers and coaches to step into their greatness in a real way so that people can know about you. They can't know about you unless you demonstrate your gifts. So that's what I help them do, is I help them demonstrate their gifts in public so that they can do what they say they want.
So you said something that really just struck a chord with me, and just curious how you deal with this because a lot of people are not comfortable with being vulnerable. They're not
Mm.
comfortable with that. So when you said being comfortable with their vulnerabilities, most people cannot do that. How?
I think the time of the perfect on social media, it's like, look how perfect my life is. Look at this perfect food I'm eating, and look at this perfect beach I'm on. And everything, like, the world is done with that. They want real, and being vulnerable takes courage. And so there is no easy way to do it. But it's when your identity is so set in who you are, vulnerability doesn't have to be scary anymore. It could just be, it's a part of your story. And people want to know you because you make your business and your income and your impact through you, through your story, through your persona, it's all about you. It's you that shows up. It's all about them. It's all about your audience and the people that you want to support, but it has to start with you. And if you expect them to be vulnerable with you, then you have to make the first move and be vulnerable with them.
Exactly. Another key point that you were talking about before was action. You can have the best vision, but without action, nothing gets accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many people have thought about doing podcasts like you? You know, so many people have thought, I've talked with so many people about that. And that's part of the visibility program, because visibility isn't just showing up on social media. It's going out and being on other people's podcasts and platforms so that you can be introduced to a different audience and it's expanding your visibility. How many people have thought about doing what you do, Baba? Probably hundreds of thousands. And they look at you and they're like, I wish I could do that. Or they know, like, deep down, they're like, I think I could do that. And they just never pull the trigger on taking action on it. And so that's the difference maker between, like, we can be vibrant souls, but unless we actually choose to allow it to shine, would love for everybody to be able to experience their own light in a way that serves the world, because there's no better feeling than that.
Yeah, it's fulfillment, but it's also being vulnerable as well, being okay with showing that life is messy. It's not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know a lot of people will look at me and be like, oh, well, it was easy. You had love. You said that in the beginning. You got love. Yes. But that still didn't change the circumstances. Like, I eventually had to come into my own. I've had times when I had suicidal thoughts. I had those dark, depressing times when I felt like I didn't belong. I lashed out in anger towards God. Like, why did you make me this way? Like, you let this happen. You created me. And so it's not that I haven't experienced the dark, but I'm okay with sharing those things with people because it connects us.
Mhm.
And really, we're not showing up. Well, the visibility is not for ourselves. It's just another means of connecting with another human being one on
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, because we're all dealing with the dark. We're all dealing with pain, with suffering. Life can be very difficult and challenging.
Yeah, it really can. Yeah. So I don't downplay that, but I also choose not to live there.
Mhm.
And again, it's a choice.
Right. That choice again, that we have the freedom, we can either embrace the darkness or go toward the light, our light, and realize we have the answers within us.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me, well, how do you do it? And I'm like, because the alternative sucks. Like, I don't want to be a victim to my circumstances. Those are our two choices. You can either become a victim of your circumstances or you can rise above them. And I love that you have clouds behind you. You rise above them in a way that where you're a conqueror. You already claim your victory over the circumstances. Because that seemed like a really grim and dull way of existing in this world. If I were to be the victim and have every excuse to drink and do drugs or just sit and watch movies or TV all day and just allow myself. And I studied and work with and speak along with Les Brown. And it's just The Walking Dead. You're just waiting for your time of death to come. And I don't want to live that way. And I don't want you to live that way either.
Right. We're here to live our life. We didn't come to earth to live in pain, to suffer. We came here to shine our light, to step into our light. And I think you're the perfect coach for that because there's no excuses they could throw at you.
Yeah. Would you like to try Baba? You can try.
No, because I realize all the excuses are just head trash, garbage.
Yeah, right? That's what you talk about is getting rid of that head trash. Like, we're done with that.
Right.
Um,
Because that's why I have my image there that we are the sky itself and the storm clouds are situations or thoughts or beliefs, but it's temporary. Let them float on by and go be the sky, go shine.
yeah. Living in Hawaii, it's the rainbow state. And the rainbows can't exist without the rain. So you kind of need maybe what feels like the unwanted, the storms, the darker clouds in order to bring out something beautiful.
Right. We need the contrast in life to see what we don't want
Yeah.
so we can
Yes.
have what we really desire and want because it's there
Yeah.
for us. Just be open to receive.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this conversation. Thank you.
So we're running out of time here a little bit, but how would people reach out to you? How would they get in contact with you?
You can just email me directly at Pauline at One Leg Up Productions. And I'd love to just hop on a call with you if you're an entrepreneur and you've been struggling with all the things. You've taken a lot of courses already. You feel like you've done all the stuff, right? Uh, but it's still not working. then I would love for you to have a conversation with me and see how I may be able to serve you as well.
Perfect. So I'll put that in the show notes too, so people can find it there. And I really
Thank you.
appreciate your taking your time today and enlighten us into what is possible, that there's no limitations.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
again, Pauline, for being here. It's been a real honor and pleasure to share space with you.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you, Bubba.